Chapter 11 Life and Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Han Yu muttered to himself. Under his control, Bai Bingu had no power to resist at all, he could only let him slaughter him, and he could feel that Bai Bingu's mental strength was not strong. Compared with him, it was like the difference between a child and an adult. It's just that the soul power consumption is a bit large. I still have a little soul power. Han Yu exhaled a breath of turbid air. Soul power is also needed to maintain the Sharingan. Although it is not much, it is consumed very quickly. Take a short break, and then find a few more soul beasts to try. The stored food should last for a few days. Han Yu sat cross-legged to recover the consumed soul power. In this soul beast gathering place, it is safest to keep the most abundant combat power at all times. About a moment, Han Yu stood up again and continued to walk forward. The far north is very large, unimaginable. There are also many types of soul beasts. Han Yu encountered many soul beasts along the way, and those below 600 years old were directly skipped. The target is mainly those over 600 years old, which can bring him a good experience effect. Bang! A giant beast fell down with a bang, revealing Han Yu's thin body. The sixth one, that the scarlet Sharingan in his eyes gradually disappeared, and Han Yu took a breath. He has fought many soul beasts in the past few days. Under his powerful mental control, he has won without any surprises. During the period, he also encountered a white ice tiger transformed from a 1,000-year-old ice silkworm. At that time, Han Yu thought he had encountered a big crisis. Unexpectedly, when he started fighting, it was a paper tiger, and he killed it without any effort. It's time to go out, and there's no food. Han Yu smiled and left along the way he came. The battles in the past few days made him extremely proficient in the use of Sharingan, and under the high-intensity battle, the soul power that was about to break through naturally reached the 12th level. This kid has grown a lot. Du Bu Si, who was hiding in the dark, nodded with satisfaction. He had seen Han Yu's battles in the past few days. He was decisive and ruthless. He could resolve the battle as quickly as possible and would never consume any extra soul power. He would close his Sharingan at the first opportunity to resolve each battle. How could he know that Han Yu was not what he thought, but that he simply did not have any extra soul power to waste? Level 12 soul power was not much, and ordinary soul masters could only use 2 or 3 skills. Soul power was really not much. If possible, Han Yu would also like to maintain his Sharingan at any time. After all, the far north was not very safe. Han Yu went back much faster, and did not get entangled when he encountered soul beasts. He just bypassed them and moved forward. Soon he returned to the entrance he had just come from. Du Bu Si's figure flashed, and he instantly appeared in front of Han Yu with a smile on his face. Yes, your strength has greatly improved in the past few days, and your soul power has also reached level 12. If I am not mistaken, your first soul skill is to control the opponent's spirit. Du Bu Si said with a smile. Teacher, my first soul skill can control people with lower mental power than me, and even control their battles. Han Yu smiled slightly and introduced his soul skills in a somewhat boastful manner. This is his first soul ring, which has a special meaning to him. From this moment on, he officially entered the ranks of soul masters. Okay, although your soul skills are very powerful, you have to remember one thing. Du Bu Si stretched out his voice, his face serious. Never use your soul skills easily, because every time you use your soul skills, the opponent will be familiar with them. Only when you use your soul skills at a critical moment and when they can play a decisive role can you conceal your strongest ability to the greatest extent. Disciple understands. Han Yu also had a serious face. Du Bu Si was right. If the enemy saw through the weaknesses of his soul skills and attacked his weaknesses, he might really capsize. Okay, go back, it's time for the second level training. Du Bu Si made a big move, held Han Yu under his armpits, and took off into the air. Han Yu. With the blessing of Du Bu Si's super Douluo cultivation, the flying speed was very fast, and the time to return to the island was even shorter than going to the far north. Du Bu Si threw out 2 exquisite iron blocks, which fell on the ground, splashing huge dust. Teacher, what is this? Han Yu was a little confused. Is the second stage of training weighted running? Tie it up, You will need it for the next training. Dubusi didn't say much, just signaled Han Yu to tie it up. Tie it up first, I don't know how the teacher will train me later, Han Yu thought while tying the iron block. Okay, don't move here, I'll go prepare something and come back later. Dubusi's eyes flashed with an inexplicable smile, and then his body flew into the air and flew towards Hanhai City. Huh? Why did he leave suddenly? Old people like to be mysterious, Han Yu muttered, and could only wait obediently in place. This wait lasted for half a day, and Han Yu was a little impatient. When will the teacher come back? It's been half a day. Just when Han Yu was thinking about it, he found that a stream of energy was transmitted into his body, cutting off his communication with his soul power. The soul power was sealed. Han Yu was about to resist, but Fate's neck was pinched, and her whole body suddenly felt sore. Her body instantly rose up like a parabola, and then fell rapidly. Ah! 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 Han Yu screamed in shock. With a pop sound, his whole body became cold and he fell directly into the sea. In an instant, Han Yu felt that his whole body was soaked with sweat, and the surrounding light also dimmed. The iron block tied to his body quickly pulled him downwards. Can't breathe. Han Yu's head was in a daze and he could only hold his breath forcibly. His entire face turned red from holding back his breath, and his vision had become extremely blurry and pitch black. He wanted to struggle, but the iron block on his body was like a force of 10,000 pounds, forcing him to sink deeper. The soul power in the body was sealed, making it impossible to breathe. A feeling of suffocation followed by increasing pressure. Am I going to die? Han Yu had no idea who was harming him. He was thrown into the sea without any reaction. Now that he fell into the sea, he had no ability to resist at all, can't shout, can't breathe, can't even struggle. The huge water pressure pressed on the body. When he could not breathe, the oxygen in the body was lost rapidly, the brain was starved of oxygen, and even the consciousness was blurred. No, it can't be like this. Han Yu, can't die, I want to live. Han Yu roared silently, and the huge pressure of life and death caused him to burst out with incomprehensible strength. He began to struggle, trying to swim upward. As long as he breaks out of the water, he will survive. However, things went against his wishes. No matter how hard he struggled, it was of no avail and his body continued to sink uncontrollably. Chapter 12 Strong Hatred. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah! I can't do it anymore. I have no strength left. Am I really going to die here? At this moment, Han Yu deeply felt his own weakness and fear of death. Ah! No, I must not die. I have to live. His consciousness gradually blurred, and a strong unwillingness, anger, and hatred for his own weakness, a lot of negative emotions surged out. Ah! Swish. A touch of scarlet illuminated the dark sea water. If Han Yu was still conscious, he would find that the soul power in his body had been unsealed at some point. The scarlet Sharingan appeared automatically, and the three black Magatama spun rapidly, crossed and connected quickly, as if they would turn into a mysterious pattern in the next moment. A soul power breath that was even colder than before emanated. The three Magatamas were still spinning, and just when they were about to form a pattern, they stopped abruptly as if something was missing. Finally, they stayed in the state of three Magatamas. With the formation of the three Magatamas, the mental power grew rapidly, and Han Yu's consciousness became slightly clearer. Is this, the three Magatama Sharingan? Han Yu smiled bitterly. Even if there were three Magatama now, it would be useless. He couldn't be saved. The oppression continued, and his slightly clear consciousness quickly blurred. At the last moment when Han Yu's consciousness dissipated, a pair of big hands grabbed him and quickly rose to the sea surface. It seems that the plan was successful. I didn't expect to get three Magatama directly. I hope this kid won't blame me when he wakes up later. Putting Han Yu on the ground, Dubusi was slightly proud. After knowing the evolution method of Han Yu's martial soul, he had been planning. Sudden disappearance was also within his calculation. He couldn't let Han Yu know his plan, otherwise his subjective consciousness would inevitably have psychological defense. For this reason, he racked his brains to come up with such a method, to evolve the martial soul through the oppression and stimulation between life and death. Now, it finally succeeded. He has been observing Han Yu's life situation so that he can rescue him as soon as possible. Just when he thought he was going to fail, he didn't expect Han Yu to give him a big surprise. Finally, he successfully evolved at the last moment. Pa! Dubu slapped Han Yu with his palm, causing his entire body to bounce up from the ground. A series of slapping sounds rang out, and within just a few breaths, he had slapped Han Yu dozens of times in a row. His hands turned green, and every time he slapped Han Yu, a green airflow entered Han Yu's body. Han Yu's body trembled slightly, and he was still in a coma, but as Dubu slapped him, a green halo emanated from the surface of his skin. This kid's body is still too bad. Well, let me help you. As Dubu continued to slap, his aura dropped a little, far less powerful than before. This was using his soul power to forge Han Yu's body. Obviously, this method was also very consuming for Dubu. In a coma, Han Yu only felt that he was in a furnace, being hit by a hammer. Every time he hit, he felt very painful, his body became tougher, and the impurities in his body were also eliminated. In the torture of ecstasy, he didn't know how long it took before the pain gradually disappeared and he fell into a deep sleep. Dubu exhaled a breath of turbid air with a pale face and reached out to wipe the cold sweat on his forehead. Finally done, kid. I've lost a lot of vitality this time. Don't let me down. But why is the physical improvement not as big as expected? Only about 3/4 of the degree. This is the first time I use this secret method. Is there something wrong with the record? Dubu's eyes flashed with a hint of complexity. This time, he used the secret method to temper Han Yu's body. Even if his cultivation is as advanced as his, it is still very consuming. With this kid's current physique, when he reaches the second ring, he can at least absorb a soul ring of about 3,000 years. Hee. I will definitely give those old monsters a surprise when the time comes. Isn't your Shrek known as the first academy on the continent? I want to see how you react when you see my disciples. I don't know what he thought of. Dubu's face was full of smiles. It seems that he saw the shock and disbelief on those people's faces. Am I dead? Han Yu barely opened his eyes. He just felt sore all over and had no strength at all. Obviously, he hasn't come back to his senses yet. You are still alive and well. Your teacher will not let you die. Yes, eat this. A low voice sounded in Han Yu's ears, and a large tray was delivered to him. Teacher. You saved me. Han Yu came back to his senses and looked at Dubu in front of him with surprise. I guess so. Dubu nodded awkwardly. Teacher, let me tell you, after you left, someone attacked me and almost killed me. Han Yu suddenly came to his senses while talking, looked at Dubu in disbelief, and spoke with difficulty. Teacher, that person, it couldn't be you. Although it was a question, the tone was very sure, full of unquestionable momentum. You are right, it was the teacher who threw you into the sea. Before Dubu finished speaking, he felt a pair of scarlet eyes staring at him tightly, and a cold breath emanated from Han Yu's body. A large amount of negative emotions surged, filling Han Yu's mind, making his consciousness gradually confused. Disciple, wake up, don't let your emotions control you. Dubu's urgent shout came, and Han Yu's eyes gradually became clear. Teacher, Han Yu's somewhat puzzled voice sounded. Successful, your Sharingan has evolved successfully, and now it has 3 Magatama. Take a look for yourself. Dubu took out a mirror from somewhere, and reflected Han Yu's scarlet Sharingan on it, and 3 Magatama appeared on it. Looking at the 3 Magatama Sharingan in the mirror, Han Yu was full of doubts and said, What's going on? Dubu smiled and was slightly proud. Have you forgotten what you said, the evolution of the Sharingan? I can't let you know, it's a strong stimulation, so I did this. Do you understand now? Dubu stared at Han Yu tightly, his tone serious. Han Yu was stunned when he heard the words, and the cold breath disappeared instantly, and the indifference in his eyes became soft, and his eyes were blank. So you sneaked up on me and threw me into the sea? Han Yu, who knew the truth, raised his voice unconsciously, with a look of tears and laughter on his face. Fortunately, he awakened the 3 Magatama Sharingan, but this price made Han Yu a little scared. Didn't you say that yourself? If I don't do this, how can you awaken your martial soul? Du Bushi smiled, but the way Han Yu almost lost control just now made him alert. Han Yu boy, your martial soul has evolved. After your martial soul possessed you, the strong emotional fluctuations caused your personality to change drastically. Next, you have to learn to control your emotions, otherwise what happened just now will happen again. Chapter 13 3 Magatama Sharingan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Teacher can feel the powerful negative emotions you had just now. If you can't control yourself, you may fall into the trap of an evil soul master in the future. Han Yu raised his head when he heard the words and suddenly realized that he had felt that he had indeed changed a lot just now. Teacher, I understand. I will calm down and control my emotions next. Han Yu clenched his fists, his eyes flashed with determination. He could not be controlled by his emotions, he can only be himself. Hearing this, Du Bushi nodded with satisfaction, a trace of softness flashed across his face, but your martial spirit is indeed powerful. I can feel that your mental power has increased again after your Sharingan reached the 3 Magatama. It is now comparable to the average Soul King, but you are not yet proficient in using it. My teacher will help you control this power next. Han Yu nodded, feeling a flash of self-blame in his heart. The teacher was so kind to him, but he had treated him like this just now. Okay, you don't have to blame yourself. I didn't expect the Sharingan to have such serious side effects, and I thought you couldn't hurt me even with my master's strength. As if he knew what Han Yu was thinking, Du Bushi comforted him with a smile. Okay, let's eat. You've consumed a lot of energy. Replenish your energy. Han Yu was silent, remembering the undying kindness in his heart, and the idea in his heart was about to stir again. Looking up, there were pieces of dark blue meat cut into long strips on the tray, as many as a dozen. Han Yu asked curiously, what is this? Du Bushi laughed and said, you're lucky, kid. This is the belly of a 1,000-year-old tuna from the deep sea. It has the highest quality fish oil. I caught one when I was rescuing you. Oh, Han Yu nodded. This thing looked raw, so I guess it didn't taste very good, but at this time, the feeling of hunger in his belly kept coming. I didn't care much at the moment, so I picked up a piece of fish and ate it in one bite. To Han Yu's surprise, the fish was unexpectedly delicious. It wasn't fishy at all. Instead, it had a strong aroma after entering the mouth. After chewing it briefly and swallowing it, a warm current quickly rushed to the limbs and bones, making it indescribably comfortable. This good stuff. Han Yu's eyes lit up and he immediately started eating. Within a moment, a plate of fish belly entered his belly, and he patted his belly with satisfaction. After eating, he only felt that his whole body was full of strength, and there was a vague itchiness between the bones and muscles. Looking at his somewhat red skin, Han Yu was a little surprised that this tuna was so nourishing. The warmth radiating from his whole body made him feel sleepy. He immediately tilted his head and fell to the ground to fall asleep. This kid, Du Bushi smiled slightly, said nothing, and just sat cross-legged, recovering his exhausted energy. A night of silence, he slept until morning. When Han Yu woke up, the morning sun had already risen. He got up from the ground and rubbed his slightly confused eyes. Han Yu subconsciously stretched, and a series of crackling sounds quickly came from the bones all over his body. It was as if the whole body was stretched out. Aha! The indescribable feeling of comfort made him groan. The weakness from yesterday had completely disappeared, replaced by a body full of strength. I no longer feel as weak as before, and I am even much stronger. When you wake up, come over and eat quickly. Why are you showing off there? There are no beauties here. Du Bushi's angry voice came, making Han Yu slightly embarrassed. Teacher, can't you be more serious? You talk so coquettishly. If you continue like this, your apprentice will be led astray by you. When Han Yu walked up to Du Bushi, he showed no sign of weakness and retorted sarcastically. Where are you now? When you grow up, I will be my teacher and lead you to climb the mountain peaks, step into the troughs, and see the beauty of this world. People in this world are very precocious. Du Bushit blinked his eyes and said meaningfully. He knew Han Yu could understand what he said. This. Forget it, your apprentice, just want to practice hard now and become a powerful soul master in the future, so I can take over from you. Of course Han Yu knew what Du Busho was talking about, but those things were not suitable for him now. Yesterday, he deeply felt his own weakness, now he just wants to work hard to become stronger. Women and such will only affect the speed of his cultivation. It was still the tuna from yesterday, and Han Yu finished it skillfully. Teacher, how should we practice next? That when asked about cultivation matters, Du Bushi's face became serious. Do you know why our Numenon sect is so powerful? Because of the original martial spirit. Han Yu quickly replied. Du Bushi shook his head and said, yes or no, the original martial spirit is indeed powerful, but without systematic training, the potential cannot be developed, and it can only be regarded as a top-level martial spirit, not to mention some of lower quality. The original martial spirit. Your martial arts are considered to be the most powerful ones among the main body martial arts. They are said to be martial souls, but they are actually related to the brain. The power of the main body martial arts soul is reflected in its importance to the human body. The more important parts of the human body are, the more powerful it becomes. Han Yu nodded. He knew this, and he also knew that he could have a second awakening. Du Bushu paused and continued, the most powerful part of the Numenon sect, combined with the practice of secret techniques, can achieve the second awakening of the martial soul. After the second awakening, the martial soul attribute will greatly increase your power. Even the lowest bronze awakening is enough to rival some high-level or even top-level martial souls. So next, what we have to do is to perform the second awakening of your martial soul. After the training is successful, we will return to the body sect. Han Yu nodded. He didn't know if his Sharingan could awaken for the second time. If it could, it would be even more powerful. Teacher, I know. After Han Yu finished speaking, he felt a flash in front of his eyes. The next moment, Du Bushi grabbed his neck. The next moment, he was flying in the clouds. Is Chao here again? Plop. The sound of entering the sea sounded. Du Bushi directly pressed Han Yu and fell into the deep sea. The body sank instantly, and the water pressure increased sharply. Having prepared in his heart, Han Yu did not panic. Naturally, his mentality was completely different. He was prepared and struggled to resist the water pressure. After the tempering of his body, he felt much better today than yesterday, and his resistance also increased significantly. Du Bushi pressed Han Yu and sank quickly into the deep sea, and the light around him became dark again. Although it was the same process as yesterday, it was also extremely painful, but after Han Yu was prepared, the improvement he got was even greater, and he was much stronger than yesterday. At least he didn't lose consciousness, but the huge pressure in the deep sea still made his whole body sore. The tuna he had eaten played a role at this moment. Han Yu could feel the heat flowing through his body, helping him recover his consumed physical strength. Chapter 14 Shadow Clone Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Teacher, are you almost ready? Han Yu said weakly. Where is this? You kid, you have to hold on. Du Bushi's emotionless voice came, and the next moment Han Yu's neck was pinched by him again and he was pushed directly into the deep sea, sinking into the deep sea again. The little physical strength he had just recovered was quickly exhausted. Han Yu's consciousness gradually became blurred due to the extreme lack of oxygen and the strong pressure of sea water. When Du Bushi let go of his hands, with his remaining consciousness, he reluctantly paddled in response to his survival instinct. Today's squeeze was obviously more extreme than yesterday's, and he soon fell into coma again. Wake up! Du Bushi's emotionless voice sounded again, and a ray of green light poured from his hand into Han Yu's body. Han Yu woke up again, and what followed was huge pressure, a strong sense of suffocation and pain again. No. I have to hold on. Han Yu bit the tip of his tongue fiercely and managed to maintain a clear consciousness and withstand the huge pressure from around him. The scarlet Sharingan reappeared, and a cold aura spread out into the sea. Han Yu only felt a large amount of negative emotions coming in again, making his eyes filled with madness and violence. Humph. I must overcome this negative emotion and never give up. Han Yu's eyes were firm and he gritted his teeth and persisted. The strong pressure and the impact of negative emotions made him miserable and painful. The image of the last time he almost died flashed through Han Yu's mind, and a strong unwillingness appeared on his face, and he actually persisted like this. Douluo's eyes were full of surprise. He didn't expect Han Yu to be able to hone his control ability with the help of huge pressure. This kid's potential is higher than he imagined, and there is still plenty of room for development. After all, nothing can be made without polishing it. Jia. An inexplicable smile flashed across Douluo's face, and then he let out a strange laugh. I don't know how long it took. When Han Yu surfaced again, he had no strength at all and his face was as pale as white paper. At this time, his mind was completely blank, his eyes were dull, and he looked like he had been tortured. As soon as his body became lighter, he was held in his arms by the poisonous immortal. Then his vision went dark and he fainted again. Teacher, please kill me, it hurts. It hurts so much. For a moment, Han Yu really wanted to die. Time gradually passed as Han Yu fell asleep, and soon the next morning came. At this time, Han Yu was feasting on a deep purple prawn. The shrimp meat is also dark purple, which is very strange. Take one bite. The rich umami flavor spreads in the mouth, and waves of heat flow to the limbs and bones. His face, which was already very ugly, gradually became normal. Teacher, why don't we take it slow? Han Yu said to Douluo with some regret. The feeling was so uncomfortable that I couldn't breathe. He couldn't even scream if he wanted to, and the bones all over his body were severely compressed, as if his whole body was about to burst. A smile flashed across Douluo's eyes, and Douluo said with a straight face, why can't this work? Where did yesterday's heroic words go? Han Yu smacked his mouth and said with some embarrassment, but you are too fast, this disciple can't bear it. Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and practice after eating, and continue tomorrow. After Douluo finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he didn't know where he went. Han Yu smiled bitterly. Of course, what he said just now was mostly a joke. Although the process was very painful, he could also feel that the benefits to him were extremely huge, but he just instinctively wanted to complain. What was a bit surprising was that under that huge pressure, his control over the Sharingan became easier. He believed that as long as he continued like this, he would soon be able to fully use the Sharingan's 3 Magatama states. Han Yu sat down cross-legged and soon entered a state of trance. He discovered that at some point, his soul power had reached the 13th level. This breakthrough time was earlier than he expected. It seemed that the food he had eaten before was really a great supplement. It not only had great benefits for the body, but also helped the cultivation of soul power. As the body's potential was squeezed, the food he had eaten before burst out one after another at this moment, strengthening his body. Great pain brings all-round improvement. Han Yu understands that this is the way of cultivation in the original body. The improvement is very fast, but the pain involved is also unbearable for ordinary people. The next step is how to use the shadow clone technique to practice. It can allocate half of the soul power. With my current strength, I can only divide it into 1. And it cannot replace the physical training. But it can be used to practice swordsmanship and combat skills. As for the source, I can tell the teacher that it was gained by using mental power and the secret method of the body. Han Yu mentally conceived the origin of the shadow clone technique to avoid making Douluo suspicious. As for whether Douluo believes him or not, Han Yu thinks he should believe it. After all, everything has been taken out. Han Yu planned to tell Douluo when he showed up to see his reaction, the next morning. That's it, teacher. I used my mental power and then separated my soul power to create a clone. Han Yu blinked his big black eyes, with an innocent look on his face, pointed at the shadow clone beside him, and said to Douluo, who was circling around the shadow clone. TSK, what a magical clone technique. Other people's soul skills only produce afterimages and have no attack power. Your shadow clone, right? It seems to have attack power. Douluo discovered the difference between the shadow clone and the ordinary clone at a glance, and was a little surprised at this moment. Yes, teacher, the shadow clone has half of my soul power, can use all the means I have, and can cooperate with me to launch attacks. Once it is attacked by a stronger attack, it will dissipate, and then the soul power will return to me. Han Yu saw that Du Bu Si believed it, and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This lie was not easy to tell, but fortunately it could be attributed to his special martial soul. Du Bu Si had to believe it. Come on, attack me, use your shadow clone. A hint of curiosity flashed in Du Bu Si's eyes. This clone made him a little interested. Han Yu and the shadow clone looked at each other and nodded, with a gleam in his eyes. It was just right to test the clone's combat power. Well, teacher, you still follow the old rules, suppress your strength to the same as mine, and don't use soul power, otherwise I will definitely not be able to beat you. Han Yu's eyes were a little excited, and he looked at Du Bu Si eagerly and said. Don't worry, even if I suppress your strength, you are still far away now, after all. Du Bu Si didn't say anything else, but Han Yu understood what he meant. As a Super Douluo, even if he suppresses his strength, he is only suppressing his soul power. Super Douluo's physical fitness and combat experience cannot be suppressed. That's hard to say. My disciple is different from before. Chapter 15 Body Elbow Attack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Han Yu's eyes instantly turned scarlet, and the three Magatama Sharingan had appeared in his pupils. The black Magatama spun in his pupils, and a cold soul power wave emanated. A trace of surprise flashed in Du Bu Si's eyes. Compared with a few days ago, Han Yu's mental power was even stronger. Go! Han Yu threw a long sword to the shadow clone, and they looked at each other and launched an attack at the same time. The shadow clone was erratic like a ghost, with a sword on the left and a sword on the right, quickly disturbing Du Bu Si's attention, and Han Yu took advantage of this opportunity to launch a fierce attack from the flank. His long sword was accompanied by a whistling wind, and each strike was accurately aimed at Du Bu Si's vitals. Du Bu Si sneered. As a Super Douluo, his combat experience was extraordinary. He cleverly used dodges to cover his whereabouts, making it difficult for Han Yu and the shadow clone to figure out his location. Han Yu, this won't do. Your speed is far from fast enough. You can't even touch the corner of my clothes. Han Yu's eyes condensed slightly, and the sword in his hand became brighter under the infusion of soul power. Swish. Sharingan activated. Han Yu's scarlet eyes shone brightly, flashing with incredible light. Sharingan gave him extraordinary dynamic vision, which could accurately capture every tiny change in movement, even a hint of cunning in the corner of Du Bu Si's eyes. He attacked again and slashed with a knife. Du Bu Si dodged at a very strange angle, clenched his right fist, and quickly hit Han Yu. Han Yu sneered, slow, too slow, this speed is not worth mentioning in my eyes. Just when Du Bu Si was about to hit Han Yu twisted his body and dodged Du Bu Si's punch at an incredible angle. Interesting. Du Bu Si's eyes were full of interest. Han Yu could not dodge the previous attack under normal circumstances. As if they were in sync, the two attacked each other, overlapping their figures and fighting again. At this time, it started to rain on the island, but it did not affect the 2.5 people fighting at all. Han Yu slashed with a knife, Du Bu Si punched with a punch, and the shadow clone attacked from time to time. With the powerful dynamic vision of the Sharingan, Han Yu silently copied Du Bu Si's physical skills. Elbow strike from the original body. X2. Han Yu's body trembled slightly, and the powerful impact made him step back uncontrollably. I didn't expect that your Sharingan could also copy the physical skills of our original body sect. Great. Sure enough, although he could copy Du Bu Si's skills, the physical fitness between the two was still too big. Just a slight collision. Han Yu felt like a big truck was hitting him. No more fighting, teacher, you are cheating. Han Yu said a little angrily. Although he could fight back and forth with Du Bu Si in terms of skills, his physical fitness was completely incomparable. Although they fought for a long time, there was only one real collision. During this period, Han Yu had been dodging with the help of the Sharingan, counterattacking from time to time, but although he could clearly see the speed of Du Bu Si's attack, he could not keep up with the opponent's speed at all. It was hard to hit him, but Du Bu Si secretly increased his speed, making him almost hit every time. Why am I cheating? Du Bu Si said innocently. Humph. Every time I was about to hit you, you secretly used soul power to increase your speed. How can we play this? It's boring. Do you think I can't see that you use soul power? In this case, I might as well fight with soul beasts. Han Yu looked at Du Buxi with some resentment, and was somewhat ashamed of Du Buxi's secretly improving his strength. I didn't expect you to find out. A flash of embarrassment flashed across Du Buxi's face, but it quickly disappeared, and he said seriously. I'm doing this to train you. You have to know that when you travel in Douluo continent in the future, you will encounter all kinds of old shady guys, many of whom have hidden strength. I'm training you like this now so that you won't trust anyone easily in the future. Including the teacher. Han Yu's leisurely voice came, and Du Buxi's serious face couldn't hold it tight instantly. Well, of course not. You can trust the teacher unconditionally. I won't lie to you. The teacher just did it because he had to imitate the enemy. Han Yu, you have to believe the teacher. Du Buxi said earnestly. Han Yu pouted, I don't believe you, your face is thicker than the walls of Shrek. Isn't it just because you are afraid of losing face if you lose? Is it that serious? Seeing that Du Buxi refused to admit it, Han Yu could only ignore him. Although he didn't win just now, Han Yu could clearly feel that his strength had greatly improved. Although his soul power was still level 13, his actual combat power was far from what it seemed. With the blessing of the Sharingan, soul masters with only 2 or 3 small skills could no longer cause him any trouble. And this was when he only used physical skills without using illusions. If he used illusions, even a soul master might have his neck cut off by him. Of course, this was in a one-on-one situation. As long as the opponent was in a trance for a moment, he could seize the opportunity to kill him with one blow. Am I considered a sensitive attack control battle's soul master? Han Yu thought with some amusement. After all, his current template was closer to an assassin. In fact, his melee ability is not outstanding, and his attack power is not strong. He relies entirely on skills and illusions to control the enemy, and then finish off the enemy. By the way, the agile attack system doesn't seem to have a very loud reputation in Douluo continent. They can't beat the strong attack system in a head-on battle, and they can't break the defense of the defense system. They are restrained by the control system and can only bully the auxiliary system. Now that the era of soul guides has arrived, even the auxiliary system has good defense and attack capabilities. It seems that the status of the agile attack system is actually very embarrassing. Han Yu couldn't understand it. In his opinion, the agile attack system is actually half-wasted. People on Douluo continent rarely engage in assassination, and there is no assassin league or anything like that. Fights are all head-on, you hit me and I hit you. Before fighting, you have to report your level to each other, and then start to show your soul rings. It's like playing a game, with a tank warrior in the front, a mage in the middle, and an auxiliary in the back. As long as you knock down the tank warrior on the opposite side, the game is basically won. Just as Han Yu was thinking, a familiar feeling came. Soul power was sealed, neck was grabbed, and then took off. Again, from this day on, Han Yu was tortured to the point of wanting to die. If Du Buxi hadn't given him a lot of nutritious food every day, he would probably have collapsed mentally. It was okay in the first few days, just simply resisting the water pressure, but later, after Han Yu adapted. Chapter 16 6 years later. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Du Buxi found some soul beasts that were hundreds to thousands of years old from nowhere. If they were on land, these soul beasts would not cause any trouble to him. He glared and stabbed them, and basically solved the problem, but in the sea, soul beasts were nothing. The strong water pressure was his enemy. In addition, he could not breathe, so he could not exert his strength at all. He could only use the Sharingan to control it, and then the soul beast woke up and started to chase him. Under the pursuit of the 1,000-year soul beast, Han Yu could only use the Sharingan to control it frequently, and then staged a scene of it chasing him. As the number of times the Sharingan was used increased, Han Yu's control of the Sharingan became easier. 6 years later. Main body flow secret method, floating attack. Squeak. An unknown sea soul beast suddenly jumped up from the sea, and then a figure moved above the sea soul beast at a faster speed, and then his right foot fell fiercely. Bang. Huge waves burst, and the unknown sea soul beast sank into the sea in an instant. disappearing without a trace, leaving only a little blood floating on the sea. The boy landed smoothly and stood steadily on the sea. This person is Han Yu. 6 years have passed, and Han Yu has changed a lot. The thin body is no longer seen, replaced by a somewhat strong body. He has grown a lot taller, and has reached about 1.8 meters. He has a middle-parted and spiky hairstyle. His delicate face has become handsome as he grows up. There is a hanging rope around his neck, with a Magatama on it, and a scarlet Sharingan appears in his pupils. The whole person has a kind of bewitching beauty, wearing a light blue short-sleeved shirt and light blue pants. The chest is open, revealing slightly white muscles. On the back of the short-sleeved shirt is a scarlet Sharingan 3 Magatama emblem. The dark gray arm guard covers his forearm and extends to the palm. There is a blue rope belt tied around the waistcloth, and a katana is pinned behind his back. Just a grain of sand, not even half as good as me. Glancing at the soul beast that sank into the sea, a somewhat indifferent voice came out of Han Yu's mouth. 6 years have passed, and there is no one on the island except Dubusi, which makes Han Yu's personality become a little withdrawn, and Dubusi had left 3 years ago, leaving him alone to live on this island for another 3 years. 3 years and 3 years. Do you know how I got through it? Originally, it was thought that with the secret method of the body sect, Han Yu could awaken the second martial soul of the body, but after practicing for 3 years, there was no reaction, which made Dubusi a little confused and had to give up temporarily. Then the sect sent a message to Dubusi, saying that there was a big thing that needed Dubusi to decide, and Han Yu's side had already entered the right track. Plus there were no powerful soul beasts around, so Dubusi left without worry. This walk lasted for 3 years. Finally, I can leave. Han Yu stepped on the sea water and came to the island. 2 soul rings, one yellow and one purple, appeared and rose from under his feet. At this moment, his soul power has reached level 29. As a congenital soul power of level 5.5, Han Yu is very satisfied with this cultivation speed. He remembered that Zhu Zhuqing's congenital soul power was level 7, and at his age, she was only level 27. Although his congenital soul power was lower than hers, he had more resources in the past few years. He had eaten countless sea soul beasts and whale glue, although most of them were 1,000-year-old. Humph! I was completely surprised to have such a cultivation speed. After all, not everyone has so many nutritious things to eat every day. A smile flashed across Han Yu's handsome face. Although his congenital soul power was low, with the blessing of the soul-raising pill and natural materials, his cultivation speed was not slow at all, and even a little faster. Even compared to the daughter of the God King, this speed has completely surpassed. Bang! A puff of smoke flashed by, and Han Yu had become another person. His ordinary face was not the same as Han Yu at all. This is his second soul skill, mimicry. It can simulate anything you have seen, of course, without attack power. The Ice Silkworm clan from the far north is a 3,000-year-old soul beast. This simulation ability may not be so good for others. After all, it is just a simulation, not real, but for Han Yu, it is extremely suitable. Because he can use the Sharingan to cast illusions, and after the two are combined, he can create any illusion he can think of at will, and it is extremely real. For example, if you impose an environment on others, in which the scene is that the enemy is killed, then in reality, it is as if they are really killed, and the subconscious mind thinks that they are dead, and the physical strength and soul power will feel like after death. It's like, in the eyes of others you are normal and look alive, but you think you are dead. It's probably such a feeling, and Han Yu can use such a state to instantly launch a fatal attack on the enemy, and when breaking through the second ring, the half-dead system woke up again. Ding! The system wakes up. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the Great Soul Master. You will receive a yellow level treasure chest. Please choose. Choice 1, Fire Attribute. The host can activate the Fire Attribute soul power and develop self-created soul skills within the Fire Attribute range. Choosing this option will greatly improve the efficiency of developing Fire Attribute soul skills. Choice 2, Water Attribute. The host can activate the Water Attribute soul power and develop self-created soul skills within the Water Attribute range. Choosing this option will greatly improve the efficiency of developing Water Attribute soul skills. Choice 3, Thunder Attribute. The host can activate the Thunder Attribute soul power, and can develop self-created soul skills within the Thunder Attribute range. Choosing this option will greatly improve the efficiency of developing Thunder Attribute soul skills. Note, the power of soul skills is related to the level of one's own soul power. Yellow Level Treasure Chest. System, what levels are there for treasure chests? The first time a yellow level treasure chest appeared, Hanyu knew that there were different levels of treasure chests, and he couldn't help but be a little curious. Ding! Treasure chests are divided into white, yellow, purple, black, red, and gold. Please choose, hiss. Hanyu took a breath of cold air. It turned out that I opened the lowest level, no wonder there was a negative buff. System. How to get a high-level treasure chest. Ding! The level of the treasure chest increases with the host's strength, and there is also a chance to get it through tasks. Tasks? You still have tasks. Why have you never released them to me? Ding ding ding. Insufficient energy, temporarily unable to release, please stay tuned. Sure enough, you are just a low-quality system, Hanyu complained. He could see that this system was useless except for opening 2 boxes for him. System. Choose 3, Thunder Attribute. Ding! The host's Thunder Attribute has been activated, please develop your soul skills as much as you can. The system has fallen asleep. Hanyu. Looking at the Thunder Attribute soul skills that have been developed for so long in his hand is easy. The blue lightning concentrated on Hanyu's hand, making a piercing sound like 1,000 birds chirping, 1,000 birds. Chapter 17 sees the Tianmeng Ice Silkworm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is the result of the past few years. After choosing the Thunder Attribute, Hanyu tried to develop this ninjutsu with the Shadow Clone technique, and finally succeeded not long ago, Chidori. When activated, the high-intensity current formed by the Thunder Attribute soul power is concentrated on the hand and pierced through the target with the speed of the thrust. It will emit a strong power when combined with the Sharingan. Although the combat ability of the Shadow Clone technique is not strong, it can be used to help practice soul skills and physical skills. Now Hanyu can split 2 Shadow Clones. It is not that he cannot split more, but that splitting more will not only reduce the duration, but also increase the burden. Originally, soul power is relatively lacking. Splitting more will not only not help at all, but will bring bad effects. Once Hanyu was greedy and split more, and was unconscious for several days afterwards. Fortunately, there were no soul beasts near the island, otherwise it would have been over long ago. Since then, Hanyu has been very careful. This is not a game world. There is no infinite resurrection, and there is only one life. For Hanyu, who cherishes his life, any risky things should not be done if possible. Even if the strength is improved a little slower, shaking his head and looking at the place where he had lived for 6 years, Hanyu's eyes flashed with reluctance, but he soon became firm. It's time to go out and explore. I wonder if Senior Big Head Langya misses me, Hanyu said to himself. There are not many people he knows in the body sect. If you count them carefully, there are only Long Outyen, Langya, Dubu Si and Jin Shindolua. The storage soul guide flashed, and a small boat appeared on the sea. This was left by Dubu Si before he left, so that Hanyu could leave after completing his training. Just as Hanyu jumped onto the boat, a mechanical sound rang out. Ding! System wakes up. Detected that the host is about to venture into Douluo continent, the main task Battle of Luck is released. Please go to Shingdo Great Forest alone to snatch Tianmeng Ice Silkworm, and reward the golden treasure chest. The chance is only 1. Do you accept? If you accept, the system will automatically teleport the host to the vicinity of Shingdo Great Forest. You can give up. Hanyu was slightly stunned when he was about to start. He didn't expect that the half-dead system was now awake. He originally wanted to go back to the body sect and call Dubu Si to come together. System, I want to ask, is there any punishment for failure, such as wiping out the host? The first time the task appeared, Hanyu asked cautiously. Ding! Please rest assured, this system is only to help the host become stronger. There is no punishment for failure, and there is a reward for success, that the system's somewhat indifferent voice sounded, and Han Yu couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Although the system is unreliable, it is fortunately not that kind of pervert, and the task can still be given up. What can the golden treasure chest open? Han Yu was a little surprised to see that the reward this time was a golden treasure chest. Ding! The golden treasure chest belongs to the god-level category in Douluo continent, and can open god-level, soul bones, soul rings, artifacts and treasures from other worlds, etc. The mechanical voice of the system came. Han Yu, who was confused by the golden treasure chest, did not hear it. His eyes lit up. He did not expect the system to give him a big surprise so quickly. System, I accept, teleport. Ding! Mission accepted, teleporting. A strong white light enveloped Han Yu, and his figure quickly disappeared from the spot. Wait! My boat. Han Yu's somewhat distressed voice came, and then disappeared. Teleporting. 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 Ding ding ding. Insufficient energy, positioning error, transmission interrupted. Ouch! Not far from the Xingdo Great Forest, a somewhat embarrassed figure suddenly appeared, fell to the ground, and groaned in pain. System, what's going on? Han Yu rubbed his painful buttocks and asked in confusion. Ding! The system is running low on energy, transmission is interrupted, and the current location is 10 miles away from the Star Do Great Forest. Han Yu's mouth twitched slightly. He had known for a long time that the system was unreliable, but he didn't expect it to be so unreliable. Fortunately, the distance was not far, and it wouldn't take him long to travel at full speed. Forget it, fortunately it's not far, I won't blame you this time, I don't know who made you, so unreliable. System. Han Yu got up, tidied his hair, and ran his soul power towards the Star Do Great Forest. Since the mission is fate battle, Huo Yuhao must be on the way, and he must catch Tianmeng Ice Silkworm before him, not to mention that the million-year soul ring is particularly suitable for him, even that Alex is very fragrant. God realm, a man holding a harpoon frowned in a cloud of mist, he said to himself. 10,000 years have passed, and the Tang sect that I founded has been declining. I have to find a way to rise again. Third brother, are you worried about the Tang sect again? A girl with scorpion braids came to the harpoon man and said. Xiao Wu, we have only been ascending for more than 20 years, but 10,000 years have passed in Douluo continent, and there are only 2 or 3 kittens left in the Tang sect now. The appearance of the soul guide device and the decline of my Tang sect, I can't bear it. The harpoon man sighed, with deep worry between his eyebrows. Third brother, the times are changing. The appearance of soul guide devices is indeed better than hidden weapons. The decline of the Tang sect is inevitable. As a god king, I am afraid you can't change it. You know, we can't go down to the world. The girl named Xiao Wu snuggled up to the harpoon man and comforted him. The harpoon man smiled slightly. Oh. That may not be the case. I can feel that the son of destiny has been born, and my Tang sect will surely rise again. That the harpoon god king had deep eyes, and through the clouds, he seemed to have seen the future, the periphery of the Xingdo Great Forest. Whoosh! Han Yu was on his way at this time, and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead as he ran at full speed. On the other side, a thin boy, holding a white tiger dagger, was fighting with a soul beast that looked like a baboon. At this time, the boy seemed to be at a disadvantage, and was constantly chased by the baboon, and he was about to die. A white light flashed, and the baboon's body stiffened for a moment, then fell to the ground with a bang, and stopped abruptly after rolling on the ground. And a circle of white soul rings slowly emerged. It was the boy's white tiger dagger that stabbed the baboon, causing it to die here. Finally I met a human with spiritual attributes. It's a pity that I can't cry, otherwise I would be in tears. A voice suddenly appeared in the boy's mind, and then he felt something rushing into his body, very swollen, very painful. This was his last feeling. Before the boy could make a sound of objection, an extremely cold breath instantly made him lose consciousness. The sky, which was originally very clear, suddenly darkened, and thunderous roars sounded, and huge pressure fell from the sky. Han Yu, who had just arrived, looked at Huo Yuhao's unconscious appearance, and felt a sharp pain in his heart, which made him utter a cry in his heart. No. 3 chapters are updated every day, at 12 a.m., 8 a.m., and 5 p.m., please read, collect, and vote for me, everyone. Chapter 18 Failed to Snatch Tianmeng Ice Silkworm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pain. Pain. It hurts so much. The golden treasure chest passed by, my artifact, the god-level soul bone, is gone. Han Yu crawled on the ground, a heart-wrenching feeling came, as if he had lost 10 billion. It seems that the fusion has begun, the sky and the earth have changed color. Is this the million-year soul beast Tianmeng Ice Silkworm? Does this count as a mission failure? Han Yu's mouth twitched. Damn the system, if it hadn't made a mistake at the critical moment, Tianmeng Ice Silkworm would be his now. At this moment, a grey airflow suddenly appeared, a very vague figure appeared, and an old voice sounded with an indescribable majesty. Holding the sun and the moon and picking the stars, there is no one like me in the world. I didn't expect that I could still have a trace of residual soul left. What dares to snatch people from me? Tianmeng Ice Silkworm was furious, mobilizing the huge mental power to try to drive away the mysterious figure. Well, since this place has been occupied by you little bug, I will find another place. In Han Yu's somewhat confused eyes, whoosh, the mysterious figure entered Han Yu's brain and disappeared. Elux. Han Yu's heart moved slightly, and he immediately thought of who this figure was, the residual consciousness of a peerless strongman from another world. This. Half for each? How to calculate the task? Han Yu was a little speechless. Originally, he wanted to collect both Tianmeng Ice Silkworm and Electrolux, but the system made a mistake, causing Huo Yuhao to get one step ahead of him. Ding. Mission failed. Because the host obtained the consciousness of the strong, obtained a part of the luck of Douluo continent, and obtained the basic reward, a yellow-level treasure chest. Just then, the emotionless mechanical sound of the system came, interrupting Han Yu's thoughts. In the air where no one could see, a transparent smoke sank into Han Yu's body. There is still a reward. Open it and take a look. Han Yu's painful face instantly became a little surprised, and his mood, which had become bad because of the loss of the golden treasure chest, was slightly better. How can it be a yellow-level treasure chest? Han Yu's face changed. How could this Electrolux be worth this value? Ding! The system just woke up, and the energy estimation was insufficient, which led to the transmission error. The cold voice sounded again. Electrolux is a great luck collection, but it can't bring any substantial improvement to the host now, so it can only be regarded as a yellow-level reward. Han Yu frowned slightly, that is to say, the thing of luck is very general, although he got the luck thing immediately, it didn't play a role. The luck certainly couldn't increase significantly. He could only wait for the strength to increase before the luck would become stronger and stronger. Han Yu still knew that the stronger the strength, the stronger the luck, otherwise he couldn't cultivate to a very high level. Thinking of this, Han Yu's heart also flashed a flash of realization. He didn't know what kind of help Electrolux could bring to him in the future, and this system doesn't seem to be very smart, and Dubu is not someone who can let him confide in. Only people like Electrolux who are one with him are the most suitable to be his mentor in cultivation. Ding! Please make a choice. Han Yu sighed helplessly. Yellow is yellow, just like there is nothing. Click on the treasure chest casually. Ding! Choose one from 3. Choice 1, physical dynamic increase of 50%, basic injury recovery speed greatly improved, no negative state. Choice 2, soul power dynamic increase of 50%, soul power recovery speed doubled, no negative state. Choice 3, soul power, physical dynamic increase increased by 25%, body reaction speed increased by 50%, no negative state. Ha! There are no side effects this time. Yellow-level treasure chests are indeed better. The first and second options were not even looked at. The biggest problem now is that his negative state needs to be eliminated. There can be no highlights, but there can be no shortcomings. Han Yu's eyes condensed. and he directly chose 3, and ate my food and spit it out. In this way, he got a 50% mental increase for free. Ding! The host chooses 3, the reward has been issued, and the system has fallen into a deep sleep. A warm current rose from the body, and the soul power that was weakened by the system before finally returned to the physical condition, and the body's reaction also increased a lot. In this way, with the blessing of the Sharingan, you can react in time when you see the enemy's attack. In this way, you won't see it, know what to do, but the body has no reaction. Feel the power in the body. Hanyu closed his eyes, raised his head slightly, and opened his mouth. Ha 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 ha. A burst of laughter broke the silence of the Shindo Great Forest. Ha! Who is laughing? Bebe, let's go and see. A somewhat jumpy girl pulled a man named Bebe to not far from Hanyu, and just saw Hanyu, who was laughing wildly. The laughter stopped abruptly, and Hanyu's face instantly became indifferent, and a barely noticeable blush flashed by. Xiao Yuhao, the girl exclaimed, and suddenly saw Huo Yuhao lying on the ground. Bebe's eyes were strange and full of vigilance. What did you do to him? Bebe looked at Hanyu in this way. Anyone who saw Hanyu laughing alone with a boy lying next to him would think of something bad, therefore, misunderstandings arose. Hanyu looked sideways, his head slightly raised. I didn't do anything, he just absorbed the soul ring and fainted. I just happened to come here. Bebe's face was weird, with a look of disbelief, questioning, then why are you laughing, and laughing so? Bebe couldn't describe it for a moment, his hands kept gesturing. In his opinion, Hanyu obviously did something perverted. Hanyu's mouth twitched slightly. These two people must be Bebe and Tanya. They look only a few years older than him, but it seems that there is a misunderstanding. When they first met, Hanyu said coldly, believe it or not, I laugh freely. Do you think it's a hindrance? You. Bebe's face changed. This person was so ungrateful, he asked in a nice voice, but he didn't expect the other party to be so disrespectful to him. Bebe, why are you still wasting words with him? If you dare to touch Xiao Yuhao, beat him and make him unable to take care of himself. Then I will let you kiss him. Looking at the unconscious Huo Yuhao, Tanya felt a little distressed. This was her personal chef. Bebe's mouth twitched slightly when she heard this, and a hint of intention flashed in her eyes. She said coldly, since you are unwilling to tell the truth, you can't blame me. Bebe's momentum changed, and 2 soul rings, 2 yellow and 1 purple, appeared on him. A hint of pride flashed in the depths of his eyes. Being able to cultivate to the level of soul master at this age is enough to show that he has a good talent. In addition, his identity and background that Tanya didn't know was enough to make him proud, but he usually hid it well, and people around him didn't know it. 3 chapters are updated every day, at 12 a.m., 8 a.m., and 5 p.m. Please read, collect, and vote. Chapter 19, Copying shows its power for the first time. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. On the surface, he looks like a gentleman, but in fact, Hanyu knows that in terms of being treacherous and talking dirty, there are probably few people in Shrek who can compare with the Tang Sect senior brother in front of him. Soul Master. A hint of disdain flashed in the depths of Hanyu's eyes, and he pulled out the sword behind his back. A cold light flashed. A hint of surprise flashed in Bebe's eyes. This kid in front of him is a bit unusual. With his eyesight, he can feel the extraordinariness of this sword, although he can't tell what level it is. In his opinion, it is probably not low. Don't release the martial soul. Then it has to be said that Bebe is quite qualified in this regard. He has been waiting for Hanyu to release his martial soul. In his opinion, he is a soul master, and the kid in front of him looks a little younger than him, and his soul power level is definitely not as high as his. At this time, he is already a bit of a bully. Then, as you wish. Hanyu sneered, closed his eyes, and then suddenly opened them to look at Bebe. The Scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan appeared in his eyes, and a cold and evil aura emanated. 2 soul rings, 1 yellow and 1 purple, rose from under his feet. 1,000-year soul ring. Are you an evil soul master? 2 exclamations came one after another. The former was naturally from Tanya. Tanya, who was standing aside, looked a little unnatural. She didn't expect to kick a hard bone. The latter was naturally said by Bebe. Such a cold and evil aura made him feel extremely uncomfortable. Originally, his martial soul had the attribute of light, a trace of fear flashed in Beibei's eyes. What kind of eyes were those? Just a slight glance made him feel like his heart was pierced by a needle. He didn't expect that the young man in front of him was actually an evil soul master, and a trace of murderous intent arose in his heart. Humph. Evil soul master, Han Yu sneered, why do you think I'm an evil soul master? Bei was stunned and couldn't help but say, the breath of your martial soul is so cold and evil, if it's not an evil soul master, what is it? According to what you said, all dark attributes are evil soul masters. Then as far as I know, there is a soul master with an evil fire phoenix martial soul in Shrek Academy, who should also be an evil soul master. Beibei's eyes condensed, how did you know? Don't worry about how I know, just say yes or no. Han Yu took out a rag, wiped the bright blade, and looked up and said, Beibei's face froze, and he could only say stubbornly, she didn't do evil, so she is naturally not an evil soul master, and under the education of our Shrek Academy, she will definitely not become an evil soul master. So, which eye of yours saw me do evil, and you judged me as an evil soul master just like that, isn't it a bit untenable? Han Yu's voice without any emotion came, which made Beibei slightly stunned. Yes, I didn't see him do evil with my own eyes. Although his martial spirit aura is a bit evil, I can't just list others as evil soul masters so hastily. Thinking of this, Beibei's eyes softened slightly, but the suspicion in his eyes did not disappear. Since you said you are not an evil soul master, then we will solve it according to the rules of soul masters. If your soul skills have the effect of evil soul masters, then. Although Beibei didn't say it clearly, Han Yu knew what he meant. If his soul skills were also very evil, he might be eliminated by him. Really, those who dare not cause trouble are mediocre. Humph. Stop talking nonsense, let me see how strong you are as a soul master. Han Yu's eyes were slightly excited. He had been beaten all these years, and he had had enough. Now he could meet a normal soul master, just to find confidence in him is easy. Light blue lightning appeared on the sword, making a sound like a bird's cry. He is also a thunder attribute soul master. It seems that I misunderstood him. Beibei's face changed. Generally speaking, evil soul masters cannot use such righteous thunder and lightning because it conflicts with their own attributes, just like fire attribute soul masters and water attribute soul masters. Beibei opened his mouth to say something, but at this time Han Yu had already rushed over with a knife. The speed was very fast, so fast that Beibei could only vaguely see a blurry figure, and a flash of shock flashed in the depths of his eyes. A dazzling blue light lit up from Beibei's eyebrows, and then the blue light instantly dispersed, and the lightning was like a little snake around his body. There was a blue lightning mark on his forehead, and his right arm suddenly turned into a thick dragon claw. Dragonization. Ha! Interesting. Thunder Dragon Claw. After Beibei's martial spirit possessed him, the first soul ring lit up, and he grabbed Han Yu directly. Slow. Too slow. In Beibei's somewhat shocked eyes, Han Yu's figure disappeared in front of him. Where are you looking? Just as Beibei was looking around, a somewhat indifferent voice sounded from behind him. Beibei turned his head suddenly and saw a blade covered with lightning slashing towards his head. Dang. Beibei's dragon claws quickly protected the front of him. The huge impact made him unable to help but step back a few steps, and a trace of horror flashed in his eyes. No, his speed is too fast, and his attack power is also very strong. Beibei's heart was filled with deep fear. He stared at Han Yu without blinking, fearing that he would disappear from his sight and then come to his back and stab him. What, you don't want to attack? Han Yu stood not far from Beibei, with a trace of sarcasm at the corner of his mouth. Beibei was unmoved, just looking at Han Yu with a serious face. Then, I won't be polite. A cold voice sounded, a cold light flashed, and Han Yu's figure quickly enlarged in Beibei's eyes. The arc on the sword suddenly became longer, and it chopped down directly, and Beibei waved his hand to change the block. Bang! Lightning collided, and sparks were generated at the contact point between the two. Han Yu had a faint mockery on his lips. Your tolerance is just so. Beibei was furious when he heard the words, and shouted thunderous fury, thunderous fury. The second and third soul rings lit up, Beibei's momentum was great, and he got the full attribute bonus of Thunderous Fury, and the lightning attribute was greatly improved. A big net suddenly covered Hanyu. In front of my eyes, all your soul skills will be meaningless. Thunderous Fury, that the scarlet Sharingan in Hanyu's eyes shone brightly, and the three Magatama rotated rapidly. He was just planning to try it, but he didn't expect it to succeed. Although the dragon transformation cannot be copied, the other two were successful. Dragon transformation should be a martial soul characteristic, but the second and third are not. Now Hanyu has an idea of what soul skills can be copied. A faint smile flashed across the corner of his mouth. This trip has gained a lot. So, how do you face your own soul skills? Two large nets crossed the air, and went towards their respective targets. What? How is it possible? How can you use my soul skills? Beibei's eyes flashed with disbelief. Han Yu's operation almost made him doubt his life. Tanya on the side also had a dull look. She recognized these two soul skills. Beibei often used them. I didn't expect Han Yu to be able to use them. 3 chapters are updated every day, at 12 a.m., 8 a.m., and 5 p.m. Dear readers, please collect and vote. Chapter 20. Give them what they want you to give to them. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's your soul skill? Now it's mine. Hanyu sneered, glanced at Beibei's unbelievable face, and in a flash, easily dodged the power grid that seemed to him so slow. As an assassin, his main focus is speed, so he can easily avoid the power grid that seems to him to be extremely slow, but as Beibei of the attack type, it's hard to say. Sizzle. The power grid roared, and thunder and lightning struck like snakes. The cold rain's power grid arrived first, covering Beibei's body in an instant, and powerful thunder and lightning surged towards him. He was given a set of electric therapy directly, but as a thunder attribute soul master, Beibei's lightning resistance was naturally extremely strong. Although his body trembled for a while, it did not cause any harm to him. It only electrified his silky hair into an afro. Call. Beibei's dark cheeks revealed a pair of white teeth, and she exhaled a breath of black air, clearly electrified. Beibei. How are you? Xiaoya exclaimed, ignoring Huo Yuhao who was standing aside, and came to Beibei and looked at Hanyu warily. Blue silver grass was released, and 2 yellow soul rings rose from her feet. I'm fine, just a little numb. Beibei said with some difficulty. When Tanya saw Beibei's miserable state, a trace of heartache flashed in her eyes, and she looked at Hanyu bitterly. Beibei, I'm here to help you. The first soul skill, blue-silver coil. Large swaths of blue-silver grass surged toward Hanyu like waves, but Hanyu turned aside slightly, and Tanya felt a huge force. You're asking for trouble. Thunder. Although he could only copy spiritual and thunder attributes at present, Hanyu was also very happy. When he was so happy, he directly rewarded Tanya with a big blue net. Tanya screamed. She was not as strong as Beibei, nor did she have such great lightning resistance. Moreover, thunder and lightning are usually relatively restrained against plants, so this made her take off happily. Your hair stands on end and your face is charred. You are more like Shamate than Shamate. I would like to call you the first founder of Shamate. Han Yu's cold face couldn't hold back at this moment. He suppressed a smile at the corner of his mouth, his face turned red, and then. Ha 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 ha. As soon as he closed his eyes, his head rose slightly uncontrollably, and he laughed wildly. The familiar laughter came again, and the two couldn't help but look at each other. Beibei, you. Xiaoya. The two of them were shocked, pointed at each other, and quickly took out a mirror. Then I took out the water bag and did some simple grooming. What, do you want to continue? If you want to continue, I can accompany you. It doesn't matter if we go together. After simply washing up, the two of them looked a little embarrassed. Beibei said in a somewhat sarcastic tone, I'm sorry, little brother, we misunderstood you. I'm sorry. Under Han Yu's somewhat stunned gaze, Beibei bent over his knees and bowed deeply to him. Is this the end? Do you know how much impact it will have on you to casually say that someone else is an evil soul master? I'm afraid your apology is not enough. Han Yu raised his eyebrows and replied coldly, what he said was not wrong. If after leaving today, Bebe publicizes that he is an evil soul master everywhere, he will not dare to leave the Numenon sect without being a titled Douluo. This. What do you want, little brother? Bebe was a little speechless. Han Yu was right, he was indeed arbitrary in this matter. A soul bone that is at least 10,000 years old. Han Yu stretched out a finger and looked at Bebe sideways. What, why don't you go and grab it? We don't have 10,000-year soul bones, how can we possibly get them? Before Bebe could say anything, Tanya couldn't help but speak, her face full of resentment. Oh. Is this Shrek? I originally planned to visit Shrek, but now it seems like I won't go. Han Yu's voice was full of disdain. He really wanted to see if Shrek was as miserable as netizens said. In addition, I also want to see if the running secret that has been passed down for thousands of years is really so powerful that it can cultivate a lot of gods. As for the Numenon sect, you can go back later, just in time to see the magnanimity of the #1 academy in the mainland. Bebe lit up when he heard this and said in a surprised tone, Little brother, do you want to go to Shrek? If Han Yu can join Shrek, then this soul bone can be given to him. If he can be roped in to join the Tang sect, that would be even better. Thinking of this, Bebe pulled Tanya, who looked a little ugly, and gave a slight gesture with her eyes. Tanya immediately understood, and then suddenly realized, the dissatisfaction on her face disappeared, and instead she showed a smile. I originally planned to go, but your attitude makes it difficult for me. I have a very bad impression of Shrek, and suddenly I don't want to go. With a smile on her face, Bebe said, Don't worry, little brother, a soul bone is just a soul bone, but I don't have any with me now. I can only give it to you when I return to the academy. How about you go back with us? Is this true? A hint of surprise flashed in Han Yu's eyes, and she pretended to be moved. Really? A gentleman's word? It's hard to chase a horse. Bebe nodded heavily. Naturally, he couldn't take out the soul bone, but if he turned around and told Xuanzu, it wouldn't be possible to get it in a matter of minutes. Okay, in that case, I will go to Shrek Academy reluctantly, but if I am not satisfied, it is hard to say whether I will join or not. Also, I don't have the so-called recommendation letter from the city lord. Can you two handle it? Seeing that the two of them had no intention of taking action, Han Yu pulled out a sword and slowly inserted the sword into the scabbard behind his back. Bebe's eyes brightened when he saw this, and he said without hesitation, Don't worry, little brother, leave this matter to me. By the way, I don't know what to call my little brother. My name is Bebe, and I am a 4th-year student at Shrek Academy. She is my girlfriend Tanya, who is also in her 4th year. Bebe pointed at Tanya and introduced. My name is Han Yu. After Han Yu finished speaking, he crossed his arms and walked aside and stopped talking. Bebe, he's so cute. Tanya muttered to Bebe in a low voice. Bebe's mouth twitched, he thought so too, but it wasn't very good to talk about others in front of others, so he quickly pulled Tanya. Tanya quickly shut up. At this moment, a muffled groan sounded. Huo Yuhao slowly woke up. Han Yu glanced at him and said nothing. He still didn't like the original owner who took away his life. If he wasn't afraid of the unpredictable consequences of killing him, he really wanted to kill him with a knife. Xiao Yuhao, you finally woke up, but you made me anxious to death. Tanya was overjoyed when she saw Huo Yuhao wake up. Sister Xiaoya, brother Bebe, what are you doing? Huo Yuhao opened his eyes and pointed at the two of them in surprise, as if asking why they were in such a mess. Tanya and Bebe were a little embarrassed when they heard this. Tanya said angrily, It's not because of you. When we came here, we saw you lying here, and then Han Yu laughed there alone. We thought he did something to you, so we got into a fight with him, and that's it. Point 3 chapters are updated every day, at 12 a.m., 8 a.m., and 5 p.m. Everyone, please read it, collect it, vote for it.